Hello YouTube! Today I'm going to give you my take on Balabanov's video on the analogy of the seatbelt as an example for negative reinforcement. My name is Aryeh Ehrenberg. I've been training dogs for almost 30 years and I work as a lab technician here at the Gonda Brain Research Center in Israel. So Balabanov made recently a video giving a presentation about the seatbelt analogy for negative reinforcement, saying that it is a bad example because it doesn't cover all the aspects of what negative reinforcement needs to be, such as enabling to increase levels, and it being sometimes just a reminder and not an unpleasant thing that makes you put on the seatbelt. You can choose to ignore it, and so on and so forth. I think it's wrong. Not that what it says professionally is wrong. There are some things that I agree, some things that I don't agree, and everything is very complex, and you can argue and debate and discuss a lot of these things, but essentially the idea that the analogy is wrong because you have to understand what an analogy is. What is an example for? An example is for simplifying complex things, especially if they are new to someone who is trying to learn and understand it. So to simplify it, you give an example. An example is something that resembles the thing you are trying to teach, and the one who hears it is familiar with that example, which makes it easier for him to grasp the idea. After you learn the idea and you understand it better due to that example or analogy, after that, you have to dig deeper and learn all the complexities and the right application, and you have to increase levels and make it more whatever, all the things that Ivan mentioned in his lecture. The dismantling of the example can be made to every example that you give. Even Ivan gave an example during his presentation about that chubby Labrador puppy that couldn't care less about the treat you are presenting to him. So is it an example? Is it an example for, is it an analogy for a positive reinforcement? No, is it? And I heard Bart Bellon say it, you're presenting a puppy with food. He's supposed to be hungry in order for the food to be attractive. When you're hungry, when a puppy is hungry, it doesn't feel good. It's not pleasant, even painful. You have hunger pains. When you give him the food, you relieve the hunger pain. Now, is it positive reinforcement? Or maybe it's negative reinforcement for stopping the hunger pain, exactly like an e-collar would do. So you can do it to every example. We as people give name to things and put it in boxes and categories. Dogs don't live in a world with words and terms, so it's pretty much in our world, all this debate and going into details. So in conclusion, the seatbelt example is great, very simple, and most people are familiar with it, because if you want to give an example for something that you want people to do and you make something unpleasant, that is stopped after you do the behavior. All the other philosophical debate is not relevant. After the example helps you understand the concept, then you can get into the details. And I use it every time I teach about the 4 quadrants. And I also say, when my little boy wouldn't sit in his chair, buckled up in his chair in the car, So I could give him a candy to sit quietly in his chair, and that's an example for positive reinforcement. And if he still doesn't want to do it, I can, not that I'm doing it, it's just for an example, okay? I can slap him across the face and make him sit there, and that's positive punishment, okay? And I can also take away that candy I gave him if he doesn't stop acting, and that's negative punishment. All of these are great examples for bringing things closer to people's understanding, especially if they are new to it. Way to go for the first one who came up with this analogy, because it's great. It helps explain the things in an easier and a more understandable way. And don't be so, we don't have to get so amped up on details and for the example to cover every aspect of reality. It's just an example. It helps understand, and after you understand, you learn all the other things you think students should know. All the best.